What's up, y'all? What's good? What's good? Welcome back to the Political Soul Food Discourse, the Political Soul Food Podcast. I just want to jump on real fast and talk about the debate since everybody else is doing it. And you already know from the title of this video that I vote that Kamala Harris won the debate. And I'll explain why very briefly. I'm going to keep this one short. Um, the first and foremost reason why I say Kamala Harris won the debate is because she was grounded in reality. I cannot begin to negotiate someone who is dealing with reality and then someone who is dealing with insanity. I know that Trump supporters see exactly what they want to see, and I know that Kamala Harris supporters see what we want to see exactly. However, there is a matter of objective reality that is underneath everything that we think and do. Okay. And Donald Trump is the furthest from reality. We have to constantly deal with the fictional, mythical details that he brings into a conversation. We are constantly checking and distinguishing what is literally, in his words, fake news and what is not. And perhaps I can go beyond that. It's not even a matter of just what is fake news, what is real. And from there, what is being distorted. Now, distortions come with the political game, it comes with life. When any of us is writing a CV, I would write a CV if I'm going to teach at a university, someone will write a create a job resume. You will, as much as possible, highlight your strengths. I mean, that's the goal, to highlight your strengths, and you want to minimize your weaknesses. Athletes do this when they compete. Coaches train them based on their strengths and their weaknesses, and they get people to focus on their strengths because that is what makes them great, and watch out for the weaknesses. You try to remove the weakness or minimize its liability. So I get the distortion part. However, Donald Trump is someone who relishes in disinformation. But I know that doesn't matter at all to most Trump supporters. But I think it doesn't matter for different reasons. On the one hand, you have people who are voting for Trump because of the social and cultural dynamic that they're against, particularly certain white Americans. They are against Donald Trump because they are for Donald Trump because they see a shift to a multicultural democracy. And so many of the facts about the economy and the politics don't really matter. They're just rhetorical excuses to vote for Trump. Case in point, Trump tax cut, which was supposed to have helped America, was predominantly beneficial for corporations and the 1%. Their tax cuts were permanent, and the middle class and under were temporary. And what we have here is another case of being sold an invisible bridge to trickle down economics. It did not work. It did not work. Trump created the third largest deficit in U.S. history. and this is happening, he didn't have the weight of a few wars and a recession on his shoulders. No. So a lot of the decisions that he made happened prior to the COVID-19 devastation, which he mishandled and about which he spread disinformation. So those tax cuts did nothing for the American people at large. In fact, what people were riding, they were surfing the wave of the recovery that started under President Barack Obama. When Trump leaves, he's passing on to the next president, much like George Bush did when he left the office and gave Obama the keys to the White House. A horrible economy. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris were picking up the pieces. I'm bringing up this information for context because essentially Trump really doesn't have anything to stand for other than the fact that he is going to push a white nationalist and American fascist paradigm. Policies are not that important for the majority of his voters. Now, for the black voters, it gets a little bit more complex. I think we are dealing with people who are victims of misinformation, people who are vulnerable to disinformation, and also people who have been fatigued by white supremacy in our country. They don't want to fight it. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to think about it. And they want to say it's invisible. And the issues that they see as, being prevalent in several black communities, they don't want to talk about the historical context of how those problems began and got worse in black communities. That would take a look at examining history. So anyway, Kamala Harris dealt more with the issues as they are more than Trump. Trump really spoke more like someone on a reality show, and both of them had talking points, but the talking points that each were using were grounded in different realities. And so, as Trump tried to bring out the immigration issue, which he participated in exacerbating, Trump brings out so much. I think one that I wanted to trying to remember one that just escaped me. Oh, okay. He says, "How come you didn't do everything you're saying in the last 3.5 years?" Because a presidency is not an immediate overhauling of the previous presidency, of the previous administration. Now, if we had something set up similar to Chinese empires and dynasties, where when an emperor comes and pushes out another one, they can immediately change everything with a snap of a finger. And even then, it takes time. So one emperor may come in and say, you know what, I'm going to burn the books that existed during the last dynasty because I don't want people remembering or thinking about certain things. Then we can say, okay, why didn't Joe Biden or Kamala Harris do anything? So Trump is playing off of people's poor understanding of how politics work. He also said, I should add, that he loves the poorly educated. Once he was told, well, you get the majority of the poorly educated, and he goes, well, I love the poorly educated. And he has a way of embracing people that support him and abhorring people that do not support him. But it should be noted that he is very much aware that he thrives off of those who do not understand how politics work and who do not have a sufficient amount of information. And for that reason, most, particularly Black Trump supporters, are unable to have a conversation grounded in a political and historical reality. I've had to introduce to many the fact that Trump had the highest deficit, which was a talking point among Republicans and others, at least voters, who would say, "Oh, we're worried about Obama increasing the debt and adding, to the deficit." But that is not a true concern, because it's really all about why the debt is increasing, why the deficit increasing, what is the investment, and that's fair game. But let's just be real with that. Don't give me a conversation about one president increasing the debt or deficit, and then ignore the fact that Trump has done that, and then ignore the fact that Trump said that his policies, his tax cut to be precise, 2017 tax cut, is going to pay off the debt. No, the exact opposite happened. People say that there were no wars under Trump. No, the media just didn't talk about the wars under Trump. The wars were still going on. In fact, Trump did more damage. For those of you who think Trump was a peacemaker, Trump bombed more than Obama did in 4 years. In Trump's 4 years, he bombed more than Obama did in 8 years. Now, for those of you who are all about that life, then you'll be proud. But do not bring to the table of persuasion that Trump was this peacemaker. Anyway, Trump is erratic, emotional. I don't really hold a grudge against somebody being emotional, but for those who vote for Trump, they tend to see him as an alpha male, which one of my friends says he's not. He's a bully, not an alpha male. And he is somebody that hides behind his money and from his money, economic power and connections, and obviously now his political status. So yeah, so you have Trump, who, if you listen to him, will make you more and more ignorant and delusional. Point blank. People talk about how Trump is for the people. He helped people and pardoned people. Trump pardoned the least number of people. Obama pardoned more people than Trump did in one day. Obama commuted the sentences of way more people than Trump. Okay. Kamala Harris actually prosecuted banks and organizations for doing what Trump has done. Trump is not for the people. Trump is not for the people. The charges against Trump were not made up. Trump, for some reason, happens to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Trump, for some reason, is always hanging out with people who do wrong things. And so these cases follow him because of what he's done. People think the media is biased to him. No, Trump says things to be in the media. Kamala Harris won a debate. She was prepared for the debate. She was entrenched in more facts. Now, there were some things she said that were inaccurate. I don't know about his father giving him $400 million. All right. But the point is taken that he inherited his wealth and squandered it. And because of his white privilege, he was able to survive like a phoenix and live another day to do the same thing over. He's not helping people. Trump said live that he was happy that the 2008, that the Great Recession, and I think it was in 2008 he said this, that the Great Recession, he was happy that the Great Recession happened because people like him can make money. So he actually thrives off of harming other people. He's not a philanthropist. And in fact, he even takes money from charities. Trump is not for the people. He is for himself, and he is for the ideology that advances his advantages. Case closed. Trump lost. Trump is the poster child of white nationalism, American fascism, white supremacy. Trump is not for the people. He is not for the people. You already know Trump lies. People know that the overwhelming majority of countries around the world cannot stand Trump. He has a large following because there are a lot of people who are still wanting to see a very nationalist world, a very white run international community. African Americans, Black Americans who are voting for Trump are being duped, but it's not surprising. Anyway, peace and love to you all. That's a little bit on why Kamala Harris won. If you drop a comment, I'll return and discuss. And if you want to discuss with me on here, let me know because we can do it. All right. So on that note, peace out. Kamala Harris will be the next president of the United States. All we gotta do is get out and vote. All right. I'm out.